Right now?
Right now?
Oh my god,
Except
Brandon,
they
we
can't
just go
hear
live?
me. Well, they couldn't hear me. It's awkward.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now?
We're live. Fuck it, we're doing it live.
We're live. Everybody, hello, welcome to Stay Indoors, the only podcast on the internet where the host just got out of the shower. We're Geek Garden. I'm Kelly McCabe, as always, and joining me this week are the beaming Brandon Horn,
Ooh, hi.
the scintillating Sean Fabish,
Hey.
and the jazzy Jack Tan.
I can't do jazz hands.
That's fine. We're here to talk about nerd stuff and geek stuff and video games and comic books, and whatever we're gonna talk about. But first, I gotta check in with my boys. How you guys doing? Jack, how's it going? How was your week? How you doing? How you being? What's up?
Huh. My week is bigger than a bridge.
My week. Your week. It's like a little kid's.
No, it was good. I mean, it was pretty boring, except the fact that I went up on Thursday. But
Yeah, my week was pretty boring, except that I flew a plane. But you know, it's fine.
Yeah, I
Whatever.
flew a plane. It was good. It was whatever. Nobody cares.
yeah, no one cares or anything.
I flew a
it was good.
pterodactyl. That's
It
just
was,
a dead.
I think it was the first time I experienced turbulence in a small airplane.
Ooh, fuck that shit.
Because
Right
there were stronger winds now. So when we decided to go up, so it was weird. It's a weird experience when you're like trying to control it at the same time, but you're not putting too much pressure onto the thing, so you don't want to like jerk one way, and because the wind's moving you that way, so
like overcompensate.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a neat experience.
Neat
Probably
is
should
not
never
how
do
I would
that.
describe it.
Yeah, Brandon, you would have a heart attack.
I would have
in
had a heart
that
attack. Yeah.
Low confined area, and you have to control the plane.
Yeah. Fuck
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Fuck that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But the thing is you're in control, Brandon. So if it fucks up, it's your
It's my fault.
It's on you.
It's on you.
Exactly.
On you.
Exactly.
You get it. So that way you're comforted knowing that you wouldn't fuck up.
Yeah, that's comforting. Definitely,
That's
that's
how that
definitely
works.
comforting.
Right?
Yeah.
If something's gonna be, hey, it's like a car crash.
You have more
Would you-
confidence
would
in
you
my
rather?
self-esteem than my own self-esteem.
Wow.
I think Sean has more confidence in your self-esteem than he does in your capabilities.
Bingo. Ding 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 ding. ding.
Right,
Well, I have
because
no
I'm gonna
confidence
fuck
in
up,
his-
but
You're
my
gonna fuck
confidence.
up, but you're gonna think you're gonna be fine.
That's
Exactly.
see,
Yes.
that's what I'm trying to say because I don't think Brandon could fly a plane.
You think Brandon thinks I'm
But I
playing?
think Brandon, if he got up there and he was like hit some turbulence, he'd be like, "I got this." He'd
I
have the
can
moment,
manage.
you know,
I'll
the
be good.
moment when you're like, "Nah, it's okay." Oh, I fucked it hard.
Is this
Yeah,
is this
it's
based
like-
off other experiences where I'm like, yeah, I got this, and I fuck it hard?
I mean,
Sean's conspicuously taking a water break.
I'm so hydrated. I just couldn't answer your question.
You look like
Hey.
a fucking gym buff, bro, with that fucking water bottle.
yes,
Look at
yes.
this fucking thing. I drank 1.5 of
Oh,
these
fuck.
yesterday.
That's good. You need to be drinking lots of water, man.
Yeah, dude.
I've been, you know that big mason jar we used to have, Kelly, when we lived together?
Yes.
I've been getting in the habit of trying to drink 3 of those a day.
Nice.
So my mom's like, "You're drinking lots of water. Take this." And I'm like, "Okay, sure."
Other than keeping yourself aggressively hydrated, how's your week been, Sean? How you doing?
That's pretty much my week. I sit there in a dark room and I drink water.
He's turning his Destiny obsession into a water obsession. It's really weird.
Yeah. I'm just moving laterally. That's how it starts. You start with Destiny, then you start with hydration, and then you become a gym buff, and that's
Right.
because everybody
That's the
I
progress.
play with in terms of Destiny is very like, you know, hardcore into Destiny. So I'm like, there's like I can see past the veil of me being that person. I'm like, holy shit. Am I going to be talking about concussive dampeners and why they're the most important armor mod in like 5 minutes? Or should I just that away?
Get out
Um,
before it gets too intense.
The answer is I won't. I'm just going to replace it when I get to like that. I'm going to discover this like high vibration of obsession and I'm just going to replace that with something else.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like drinking water.
I feel that for sure.
No, Destiny. So I have been playing Destiny, obviously. Yesterday they had a live event, which was really kind of fun.
Sick.
It was really buggy because like they're doing a huge update in the game, so it's not just like
Was the live
holding
event
your
like to
bottle.
celebrate for the new?
So it's
Expansion or
basically
whatever?
like
Beyond
so
Light?
that Beyond Light, yeah.
You're holding
So-
your bottle like a fucking cigarette. You're like, yeah, so you know, Destiny has
And
this fucking
I said it
thing.
was an addiction. Put it over there.
I feel bad for anybody who listens to this podcast in audio format because that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta watch the YouTube videos if you get a chance. Actually, small tangent, but there are several podcasts that I do listen to that have like a video version, and often they reference something in the video version, and I just go okay on my travel, and I load up the video version on YouTube, and I watch that 5 second, and I'm like ha, and then I go back, and I'm like I wasted all this time. Anyway,
Yeah, but you gave them an extra view on YouTube for that sweet, sweet algorithm.
so yeah, Destiny had this little fun event where you got a little mission popped up in the tower. You could observe the traveler. It was like glowing. And you get to explore the city, which is really kind of cool. You're like running around the city and seeing some citizens, and all of a sudden the traveler starts to like pulse out with light. And it was a global event, so all players at the same time were all witnessing the traveler increasing its like glowiness at the same time, and it looks like the traveler is kind of like pulling itself back together. Which is kind of cool. And then right at I think 7 o'clock when the servers went down, it like flashed white. And then you got a little small cutscene, and then the servers went down for 14 hours. So yeah, it was kind of a neat little hey everybody send off, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Like everybody get in right now, have this big event, have like it's got like a bit of a cliffhanger, bit of like a moment, and then everybody take a little break. When you come back, the game's gonna be updated.
Like me, Josh, and Zach were just chilling here, like watching the ball get glowy and being like, "Oh, big ball!" and it was fun.
Big ball.
But I know
Gooby Goblin Gamer Brain.
the Gooper Gobber Gerber. And you also got the little buff, which made you jump like 3 times the height, and so everyone's just fucking around in this social area, just jumping around, looking at the traveler, which is kind of fun. But yeah, apparently it was a huge party for all the other people I play Destiny with. They were all in the same instance, just chilling out.
Cool.
Just fucking like, you know, just fucking doing emotes. I guess I don't know what Fortnite players do.
You Fortnite kids.
Yeah, they're basically Fortnite kids, but grown up.
Yeah, dude.
It's really fun.
The meme culture for any like online game is just it's all about the memes.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Though.
Speaking of Fortnite players, Brandon, how was your week?
Yeah, Brandon, you Fortnite.
You know
bitch.
me, fucking Fortnite player. Good. This week was good. My renovations are almost done at the house. The bathroom is finished painted. 3/4 of my bedroom are painted. We got our new internet installed, which, by the way, the new like Telus routers look fucking weird. They look like a humidifier or like a I don't know, like it's just like this little white trash can.
Yeah, they
Like a little like air purifier kind of thing.
Yeah, like an air purifier. Yeah. And they gave us like a splitter and like a Wi-Fi booster like for free, and I was like, okay, cool.
What you're saying
So
is
we
your
just got
internet is trash.
internet is trash, hot trash. That said, though, I actually uploaded because I was behind on uploading our last few episodes of Stay Indoors onto YouTube. I uploaded them last night, and each one of them took 6 minutes to upload.
Nice.
Like
How long
literally,
did
I could
did
sit
they used
here.
to take on your.
They used to take like several hours.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fast.
So like we're talking about like 4 gigs, if not more, files because
yeah.
they're our whole video, right? Our whole podcast. And
Yeah.
I uploaded them. But I was like, oh, I'll put these up and let them upload overnight. And then I put them in, and I walked away to like I don't know, go put like my pajamas on or something. Came back and it was like, oh, done. And I was like, cool, okay, sick, all right, that's awesome. But yeah, things are good. I tidied up some stuff at work. There was a couple of stressful moments, but I put my foot down and got some shit done. And yeah, and then we played a fucking awful game last night
What are you
called
talking about? It was amazing.
called In Silence.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about that.
It's really fun, and I hate horror games, and it's really fun. So
Oh, yeah.
it's like Dead by Daylight in the sense that it's like survivors with a killer, but it's very specific. There's only one killer. What's the killer called?
The Rake.
The Rake. That's right. Yeah, because he has these like big like mantis like arms, and he has a mouth that opens up from its top lip and then down to like the middle of his chest. Like it's just like a giant fucking thing.
That's like a maw.
Yeah.
Giant maw.
Yeah, and there's up to 5 survivors, and it's pitch black. Pitch black. With some street lights and some like lights inside houses, stuff like that. And you and the hunter, the Rake, the person who plays that, they're completely blind, and their vision only increases when sounds are created. So the
Cool.
players have to work at being absolutely silent.
Some Daredevil horror shit. Love it.
Yeah, and it's terrifying. Being the hunter is so much fun. Like, it's a fucking blast. You don't like it, Sean?
I would like it if I got to play it more than once.
That's fair.
But the first time I played it, I encountered some, I think, annoying game design.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
it's still in early access, so I'm willing to like forgive.
It's
and
definitely
still-
a game there. It's harder to be the rake for sure. Like 9 times out of 10. Actually, no, I guess not really. It kind of just like times out, to be honest, and then the creature automatically wins. I forgot about that. Yeah. So, anyways, just to wrap up really quickly. So the survivors' jobs are either to find an armory with weapons and kill the rake, or find all the parts to get the car going, similar to Friday the 13th. Like find all the parts to get the car going, get in the car, and drive off. And then the rake, it has like this one ability where you just rush like super fast in one direction. Actually, not even in one direction. You can turn and shit while doing it, and it's terrifying because you have like a little radar as the rake, and then little exclamation mark will come up when there's a sound that gets made, and depending on how large or small it is, it depends on like how close it is to you. So if there's a really, really tiny one on the other side of the map, I'll just turn that way and hit this button, and you just go "Rah!" and you just fucking like sprint so fast, making all this fucking noise. And being the rake, it's terrifying. Like the noise it makes, and like he goes down on all fours and starts fucking like crawling. It's fucking weird.
Dude, as the player, there's so many times where you're just chilling there, and all of a sudden you see like in the distance through the streetlights, you see something go, and you're like, "Ah." And then there are times when like you made a noise and the rake just like appears, and you're like, and then they just like do a little circle, and then the player goes, hello, hello, and then runs away, and you're like, I don't like this.
The amount of
game.
times both Sean and Josh, when they're playing, they like turn their mic on and go like, "Hey there," like fucking murder you. But it's a lot of fun, and honestly, like after the first couple of times of playing, the kind of like, it's still like a stressful game, but like the scariness of it, because like you start understanding like the function of like the creature and like the meta and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun and very fucked up.
It's fun because it randomly assigns the survivors roles too. So like I kept getting the role called guide, which means you get like a mini map that shows you where all the like locations are.
Oh, cool.
You know at all times where the car is in relation to you, and where all the houses are, and where the barn is, and where the armory is. So you're like, you can be like, okay, come with me, make no sound, and then of course
But you can't talk. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you talk, like the little radar blips.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be quiet and talk only when necessary, because there are some times when the rake's just like walking and he's not making any noise either. So you have no idea where they are. It's really it can be really terrifying. It can be really fun though.
Yeah.
One time I faked Josh out. I like stared at him, and then I did the slow like pan away, and then I see him start to like walk away, and then I turn and fucking kill him. But there's a one mechanic I don't really like about this game. It's called the flashbang mechanic. So basically, if you catch a player, they flash you with their flashlight, and like their flashlight battery goes down, and then they get away. It's like an instant sort of like get out of jail free card. So you kind of have to catch them more than once in a row. But I found like as the survivor, I was never using my flashlight for anything other than flashbang. So you could flash the monster like 3 times in a row. And then if you got
Does
to a
the battery
house,
even go down if you use the flashlight? I wasn't noticing the battery go down.
So, but it takes a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, it just like I would catch one player like 4 times, and they flashed me every time, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, like when I played the
Alright.
rake, I got 1 kill on Lauren, and she was like stuck in a corner, and she kind of admitted defeat. She was like, just kill me, like whatever. But she still flashbanged me like 3 times. Like I caught her, and it was like, bam, okay, I'll catch you. Okay, fuck. And like it took too many times for me to just murder her. It was really, really weird. Yeah.
But
anyways.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a fucking blast. Kelly, how was your week, my guy?
Hey, man. This week's been okay. I've had a few days where I've just like, some days you just like getting out of bed just seems like the biggest deal, and like being productive is just like the hardest fucking thing. And like this has kind of been this week a little bit for me.
Yeah.
It's kind of been
Preach
like it's kind of been a bit of a double-edged sword because I've also started being able to work out a little bit more at home. So I've kind of had like I've been able to work out, but then like the next day I'll be just kind of like unproductive and whatever. And I wonder if it's just me kind of getting back to that and like not having enough energy because my body, like my metabolism isn't used to that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
But I've done this thing. I've basically posted like a little post-it note on the side of like one of our shelves, and I write down the number of push-ups that I did that day, and then the next day I just try to do one more than I did the
Nice.
day before.
Nice.
And like that's like the only thing that I'm putting on myself is like what I have to do for working out. If I feel up to doing anything else and like lifting other weights or doing anything like that, I will. But it's like if I can do one more push-up than I did yesterday, I'm doing good. So I'm in like trying to slowly get back into kind of working out. Obviously, I'm still doing physio and stuff for my knee, and that's gonna be a
Yeah.
while too. But
Yeah, that's fair.
that's been good. And then I've been playing. I won like 3 games of Fall Guys in a row the other day.
Yo, what the
You're
fuck?
crushing it.
Damn.
Playing a bit of Fall Guys. Technically, I won 2 games, lost a game, and won the 4th game. But yeah,
That's still nuts though.
yeah. And I don't know.
All right,
I
Kelly.
just like that game.
All right, let's get you training. Let's let's put you in for the championships. I think you have what it takes to be the next Ninja Warrior. I mean, Fall Guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
The next Fall Guy bean.
I mean, before I had all these knee surgeries and stuff, American Ninja Warrior is definitely something that I would have been down for. Are you kidding me?
All
Heck
right,
yeah.
well, now you've got a plate, so you can
So-
smack people with it. Can you imagine the strength of your knee now? Just like if you hit them with the side, that's a concussion. That's a dead
I don't know if
man.
you know how this works, Sean.
Well, just I don't know where the metal is, but just like hit them with that
I
part.
don't know. It's in there somewhere.
I mean,
It's on the knee,
like,
right?
bone is pretty hard anyway. The bigger thing is just hitting them hard. Like if you knee somebody in the head normally, that's
Yeah,
still going to be a concussion.
That's what I'm saying. Now think about it with your titanium knee,
Doubly hard.
the adamantium.
Yeah, now
bone
think with your
belly,
vibranium knee.
fucking vibranium knee. Just fucking knee the competition while you're doing an obstacle course, and they'll be like, "Bleh," and then you're like, I killed a man, but I won.
Have you ever watched Ninja Warrior,
Perfect.
Sean?
Yeah, it's where you know, knee people in the face, I assume. What am I thinking of?
Where you murder yourself to the finish line?
Yeah, probably.
You're definitely thinking of MMA.
MMA crossed with American Ninja Warrior. I think we should make it.
Dude, that would be actually so batshit insane.
That'd be
Yeah,
like-
People
it's
trying
like-
to do this obstacle course, but also beating the living shit out of each other.
I feel like do it once for my entertainment, but then we should stop because I don't know if it's ethical.
Like,
No, it's
people will die.
totally not ethical. MMA isn't even ethical.
True.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna pay you to beat the shit out of this guy. Okay, and we're gonna televise it.
I
Okay.
saw a video last night of somebody playing UFC golf.
What?
So it's like,
It's like golf, but you also have to beat the
Yeah.
shit out of people. So you gotta like do the tee, and the moment you hit your fucking shot, it's
Yeah,
fair
yeah.
game to punch him.
exactly. So, he has
So you're
three
like,
rounds. Yeah,
go for the arm.
golfer has 3 rounds to get to the green as like far as possible, and so the guy who's hitting the person is like has like knee pads and like a big like one of those like those pads on their arms, and then you can just punch them. And so you just, as soon as you hit 3, you just both go at it, and then the golfer has to hit the ball and then run to his ball and hit it again, so you can hit it. But then the other guy's
like
tackle him and then like shove him down and then like hit him in the face.
chasing him in the golf cart with a
Yeah.
fucking bat. Doosh. Take him out of the knees.
Oh god,
That's wow.
that's
that's
fucking
something.
Terrible idea.
Next weekend, you guys free?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go,
Archery tag, but MMA.
dude. I'm
Sean,
so,
you're just talking about West Side Story. I'm like, oh, I know.
I'm so sad that when all the COVID stuff happened, like right around my birthday, and like
I
we had
know.
archery tag planned, and then we
Oh,
just had to
yeah.
drop it. That fucking
Bummer.
sucked. I love archery.
Yeah.
Bummer.
We should have just done it. We should have just been like, fuck it.
No, I'm not. I'm not about that life.
Fuck it. Let's shoot each other with bows and arrows.
So we do have some fun stuff to talk about, but before we do that, briefly,
Holy shit.
Avengers
We're playing archery.
Assemble.
tag. Oh, damn.
This is a small little thing, and I just think it's emblematic of Avengers. So they update the marketplace with skins. I think it's every Thursday. It's like a weekly refresh for like featured items and stuff that they add to the store. And one of the ones they've added was the green like gladiator Hulk skin, which everybody
Mm.
obviously wanted, like came with like
Oh,
the from like
yeah.
World War Hulk and stuff.
Fuck
Um,
yeah.
And they added that, and that's really cool. But they also added a Thor skin called Unworthy Thor, and it's from a comic book of the same name where Thor, I think he lost Mjolnir and he was using like a different weapon or something. Um, anyway, his hair is like cut short and he's not wearing his usual outfit. It's more just kind of like a simple shirt, and then like he still has a cape and stuff. And one of the things about Unworthy Thor is that he also, I don't know the exact history on it, but he either lost his arm or got his arm like replaced or covered in metal or something. But anyway, like from about like here, like just below his bicep down to the rest of his arm is like metal. So it's a pretty unique Thor skin, and it's one people have been wanting for a long time. They added it into the store, and then if you tried to preview it with like the preview skin button, it wouldn't work.
Of course.
And
Okay.
if you bought it anyway, it like didn't appear in your collection of like cosmetic items. Like you couldn't use it. So then later that day, Square Enix actually, or like Crystal actually like removed
saw
it
this.
from the game and said
Yeah.
there was like a bug with the skin, and they refunded everybody who bought it and put out like a notice that if you bought it while it was bugged, you're going to be getting it for free later when it actually comes out. So it's just like it's a skin in your marketplace, and you couldn't release that without a bug. What is going on?
Yeah, I saw a Reddit post on our Avengers or whatever. I can't remember the
I think
subreddit
it's
is.
Play Avengers.
Play Avengers of someone screenshotting the email they received for that, and
Yeah.
they're getting a refund, and then they're just getting the skin for free anyways because it's all fucking bugged.
And the like discount, this like just happened. They announced like an hour or something before it happened that the discounts were going to be going away. So they were just like, yeah, the discounts are going away, and then they went away. So when
here's a
Unworthy
bug
Thor
skin.
comes back, anybody who didn't buy it because they knew there was a bug will be having to pay full price for it.
Wow.
Even though it originally released during the sale.
Wow.
Excellent.
Fuck you guys! Like, come on. Ugh.
Yeah.
Back off.
Back off.
It's just not a good look. And also,
No.
apparently
no.
it's the all-time low now is like 388 players on Steam.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's dying. It's dying.
And
It's
Steam
already
definitely
dead.
has like the lowest player base. I mean, like the highest is on PS4 just because like the Spider-Man stuff, and like it's a very like console kind of game.
Mhm, yeah,
But that's still not a good look.
definitely not.
No. If a game dies on Steam, it usually ends up dying. Like, look at Battleborn, for instance.
Mhm.
Like,
they've-
those are
and they've, like,
Battleborn
delayed-
numbers.
Yeah, that's not good. And they've delayed a bunch of like their post-launch content, and it's kind of again a double-edged sword because it's like they've delayed it because they're fixing stuff, but the game really needs new stuff. Otherwise, people aren't going to stick around long enough. And especially with like next gen launching, I think the Xbox launched today, and then the PlayStation 5 launches in 2 days. And like people are already playing, like Jack, I know you're playing Watch Dogs Legion
Yeah.
and Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
And Miles Morales, if you want to play a Spider-Man or a superhero game, that's coming out. Like, oh boy,
There are so many games right now.
yeah, dude.
Like I like literally I was thinking about this before the podcast, and I was like, apparently Valhalla is like good.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
I've heard it's
Impossible.
like decent.
Like apparently the story is
improbable.
actually the best part about it. And
That's
I was
pretty
like,
good. I also do
improbable.
like
Wow.
I also do like that they've reduced the number of weapons. So it's like more like it's going like it's like Dark Souls to Bloodborne, right? Like it's like fewer weapons that like have a more substantial impact on game design, which is always the way weapons should be designed.
Yeah,
and
they just
everything.
said you could take any weapon, essentially if you like it, you can just upgrade it to
Yeah.
like end game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is perfect.
There's
which is
like
perfect.
one sword, one axe, one spear.
yeah,
Because, like, what's the point of just constantly giving you a new thing?
with like
right?
slightly different specs.
Yeah, like 5% attack speed, blah, 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 blah. Like, all this stuff, you're just fucking lizard brain goes, oh, that's better. And then you replace it and I don't know, you spend half the game looking like shit.
Mhm.
Because you got this dinky sword with feathers on it.
I mean, we could have a whole discussion on whether like loot-based progression is good for video games. I happen to think it's not, but that's a personal take.
What?
But
really-
yeah, especially in like I don't know, like an adventure thing, or when you're playing like a specific character and they're trying to really invest you in that story. I just find the idea that you're like, oh, this axe, all of the arrows are green and they point up, so this one's just better. And like, there's no
This
real
one's good.
decision making that goes into it
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
until you get to like a certain point in the game, at which point you just go, okay, I'll find the one that I like and then use that. And then if there's one that comes along that just does the one thing I like better, I'll pick that one. It's never really like I feel like they think it's gonna be really meaningful upgrades, but meaningful decisions are more between like, do I use a sword or a spear for like the different attack types and like
Yeah.
the very big differences between those, as opposed to like, do I use this axe or this axe? It's just like never going to be as meaningful.
It's the Dark Souls way of doing it, because like all the damage variables are relatively the same. It depends on your build and then how much you upgrade that weapon. That's why I like that system the best, because discovering a new weapon is discovering a new type of move set, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, oh, okay, so like this longsword has like a stab on its third, but this one doesn't. Other than that, they're pretty much the same sword, so it really depends on whether or not you like that consistent third stab.
Yeah, like I liked using a longsword because it let me, I could do like a sword and board for most of it because it's just what I like. But if there was somebody who was like in a tight corridor or something, I could put the shield away, two-hand the sword, and then I'd get thrusts, so then I could like still hit them in a tight. So like that was a meaningful decision, right? Because like the actual attack animations and stuff are fundamentally different from weapon to weapon. But when it's just like the same sword, but the numbers are different, it's like, okay, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of think that's why this is part of my Avengers video, which I'm still fucking editing. But it's part of why I think like Avengers being a looter was a bad call, because like if you're playing a fantasy RPG, right, like a sword is different from an axe, is different from a bow, is different from like dual daggers or whatever. But like if Captain America is always going to use a shield, so like the gear can only be about like tweaking numbers for the most part. It can't really change how you play the game, so like it always feels underwhelming.
Boring. Yeah.
It's one of those things that players might want to look at if a game has like kind of run out of steam. Like if you have like a really dedicated player base and now there's nowhere for the skill ceiling to go, so now you need some sort of loadout management, having a gear system would be nice like later when there's some content to like actually kind of pile through. But people want to learn the combat system without all the other fucking junk.
Well, like the only people on the subreddit who are still like actively around that I can see who are like playing the game regularly are like posting stuff about like gear drops. Like they're just like, oh, I got this thing that like increases my percentage chance to like use this ultimate ability or whatever, right? Like that's because there's nothing else to do. There's nothing more interesting, so they're left to like, if they want to play the game at all, it has to be about that like gear grind.
Yeah. It just I think further like shows that the game was not ready, that there's definitely problems within its like core design. It felt like I was playing two different games when I played it, which is why I inevitably stopped.
I feel that in the design, and also I feel that in the story. This is like a whole separate topic, but like a game's story and its like mechanical design should work together. But like our group never really ended up playing Avengers because the few of us who might have been interested in just like jumping in to play like a co-op game with people where you play as a bunch of superheroes ended up abandoning it because they had to play through the single player Kamala story first.
Yeah, and
right,
it was
which has a few multiplayer moments, but like primarily like the big beats of that game, the story, are single player. But then they tried to sell it as a game where you assemble with Avengers with your friends and play online. So the story and like what they marketed and the design are like two different things, and then you add the fact that like the hero design and combat is one thing and then the loot is something else. So just it constantly feels like the game is at war with itself.
Yeah.
Isn't great.
It sucks. I wish it was better.
Me too.
I really do. I hope that they just continue to develop it and give me a reason to come back. But
like most of these games.
Yeah, like most live service games. Like I'm happy. Like I know I keep making this comparison because they're so easily comparable, but like I'm happy where I got into Destiny at the point that I did. And even now, I'm like growing. Like again, it's like it's live service. I'm gonna play the new expansion, and then I'm gonna get the exotics, and then I'm gonna stop. Probably, and like play it a lot less than I have been, which is good. Because there are other games I want to play, like Ghost.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, are we playing tonight?
I
said I wasn't
want to.
free until late.
Yeah, you said you weren't free till late. I have to sort of check in with with Sam and see how she's feeling about that. Because obviously, if I stay up, that's gonna keep her up, and she actually has to go to work in the morning like a functioning person. So,
I don't understand.
What's that like?
Alright.
but I do.
I
I
get
would
it.
like to. Sean, are you? Oh no, you're not even home. Never mind.
I might be home later today. I might stay another day. I don't know what the deal is right now. I'm kind of
Okay.
up in the air.
Because I was gonna say we could play through. We could try to play through some of the earlier, like the first 2 raid stuff with you today, or try to level you up or whatever. But if you're
Yeah,
at
I still
home,
have to
we
level
can't do that.
That's
true.
Someone message John.
Yeah, right.
He has the thing, but I don't know if
We
he's
don't need Sean.
He's
have
had some
another
like self-tape
on.
stuff. we had like a crazy setup the other day. I was on Zoom on his phone, and then he put his phone behind the camera for like eye lines, and then I was like, so I was being his reader for stuff, and then I was like recording my audio on Audacity so that he could like use cleaner audio for the final
Damn,
edit. But
cool.
then he like, so I sent him all of the audio files, but then he couldn't use them because they were actually like too clean, and there was like too much room tone and stuff on his end. So like my audio then sounded out of place.
Well, then he just has to record room tone, put that throughout the whole thing.
He tried, it wasn't working.
Oh, was it not? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so he just ended up not using it. But yeah, so I was like, every time we were recording, it was really funny because I'd be like, sound speed, and he's like, yeah, rolling, and then we did the whole thing, and I had to like record each one, and like I was like basically like saying which take it was, and then like telling him so that he could write. If he wrote down a take that he liked on camera, I had to tell him which audio. It was just like added all this stuff, and there was like noise going on at his place. They're like jackhammering and stuff, so he ended up having to like. We went
Oh,
off the Zoom call for
God.
like 20 minutes. Then when we turned it back on, I was like in the closet, and he was like sitting in a chair, like just in his hallway, looking into the closet where the camera was, and I was like on his phone. It was just like it was the most absurd. I'm like stacked up on chairs apparently over at his place. It was the most absurd self-tape scenario. But
Amazing. I love it.
it's what you got to do when there's a plague going on.
Wow.
So guys, the Xbox Series S/X, the worst named console since the Xbox One, is out today, and the PS5 launches in but a few short days,
On Friday,
which
right?
means
Or something.
it comes out in 2
Thursday.
days.
Thursday,
right.
yeah.
or Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
The 12th, yeah.
But I can play Spider-Man as of 9 o'clock tomorrow. Super fucking excited.
Wait, they're releasing Miles on PS4 as well? Did I know that?
Yeah, it comes out on
Oh.
PS4. And if you buy it on PS4, you get a free like
Version.
upgrade to the
Upgrade.
PS5 version.
Yeah.
I
And
think
then you can,
all
like-
their games are pretty much like that, like Cyberpunk
Yeah,
and
and
stuff
then you
too.
can like free upgrade, or you can spend like it's $20 American or whatever to then like upgrade that to their like deluxe edition that comes with Spider-Man PS4 remastered, which I will do
pretty
once
good.
I get a PS5,
Yeah.
obviously, because it has like new trophies too, has a new trophy list,
Of course.
new
Of
things to do.
course. I
Although
can't
I'm kind of-
decide if I want to wait for a PS5 or I want to buy it. I can't decide.
I know.
I need to play Miles right now. Like I do.
That's fair.
Wait.
That's fair. I probably
Um,
will. Let's be real. I probably will, but
Same.
I will play it a second time with like the ray tracing and the improved load times and shit, but I'm gonna play
Yeah.
it once. That's the thing is like I know that I'm gonna play this game multiple times, so I'm totally fine playing it first on PS4 and then,
yeah, that's
then
fair.
jumping
Yeah,
to
and
PS5.
then
That's fair.
jumping again. Yeah. The ray
But I'm kind of
tracing.
bummed because I don't know how much. Oh, dude, it looks so fucking good. I don't know how much you guys remember about PS4. There was like these Spider-Man like in the game. They're like benchmarks, and they're just like things you complete, and when you do them enough, you get like a little XP bonus. They're like
Yep.
web swing like less than 50 meters to the ground for a total of 1,000 kilometers or like whatever, like shit like that. Point launch 700 times, shit like that. So I relatively recently finished doing all of those.
God.
Got them all completely filled just because I wanted to like have all the check marks done in Spider-Man. I didn't want anything else like undone. But there wasn't a trophy for it or anything. Like I got the platinum ages ago. It's a pretty easy platinum to get.
Yeah.
It was just like a thing that I wanted to do. But they said there's gonna be a new trophy list for Spider-Man PS4 remastered on PS5. And I just feel like one of the trophies is gonna be to get all the benchmarks, and so I'm gonna have
Do
to
it all
do it
again.
yeah. But I
Life
don't
of a
regret it because
completionist.
that game is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Spider-Man games are the only games where I'm still like a hardcore completionist. I need to do absolutely everything.
That's fair.
I think the only
Fair
thing I
enough.
didn't, I think technically, if I'm being realistic and honest, the only thing I didn't do is collect all the Daily Bugle articles because there's no way to track those down, and they're just like they're just in little newspaper stands on the streets. And so you'd have to find all the different ones, and they're just like in random spots along the streets. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this game's too fun to web swing around and jump off buildings. I'm not running through every single street in a methodical grid by grid situation to get
Yeah, like you'd have to
I
get the
am.
map and like walk down
Like a
each
true
street
fan.
and just
Yeah.
like be like a tourist and just like
Dude,
scale each
finger
block.
guns. Just role play as somebody who wants to be Spider-Man, not Spider-Man.
No, but that's why would I play a video game that is just Kelly McCabe Life Simulator?
I don't know.
I don't know, Kelly.
Why?
I
Why?
live wanting to be Spider-Man every single day, Sean.
Why did they change Peter Parker's face? We'll never fucking know.
We definitely haven't talked about it.
We haven't, and I still don't understand why they would do it. How would they ever?
I'm up.
How would they do that to my boy?
What they did to my boy. However, all that being said, that means that the Xbox One PS4 generation is coming to a close.
Thank God.
Oh,
it's
actually,
time to-
super. Sorry, just one little added thing. I saw a thing. Apparently, they're updating the remote play feature on the PS4, so you can remote play your PS5 on your PS4.
Yeah, the menu just like popped up on my PS4. I had to move it into a folder to get it off my fucking home screen.
But yeah,
I know.
so the idea is
You
that
can
like
play your PS4 on your PS5.
You can
Other
play your
way around.
PS5 on your PS4.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Sean, I can buy a PS5, put it in the office, and then we can have a PS4 in the living room, the bedroom, whatever, and I can access the PS5 on any of
And
those.
use the remote play. Yeah,
And the regular remote play still works too. So if you have a computer or whatever, or phone or whatever, yeah.
Hell yeah, dog.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of cool because it was like their way of being like, hey, you can still use your PS4. You can just like remote play your games.
I'm pretty much the moment I get a PS5, I'm giving my PS4 to my sister.
That is fair.
I would
just
just throw
like,
it into space because
Here
it
you go.
has the fuel capacity to go
Bye.
to space.
Fuel capacity to go to
space.
space.
I actually legitimately, when it makes the most sense, I do want to donate my PS4, but I'll do that when that time comes.
I still have memory cards from my PlayStation 1, so that's staying with me because I am a freak.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, the
so
thing is-
paranoid about like losing game data.
That's
so
fair.
paranoid about it.
Well, that's
I mean,
yeah,
with
I hear you.
with the old consoles, because everything is so physical. Like I still have like all my PlayStation 1 and PS2 stuff, like all of it. Like I have all my memory cards, all my games, like everything. But ever since I didn't really get a PS3, so since the PS4, like 75%, especially over quarantine, 75% of my catalog is digital, and like everything is going to be accessible on the PS5, and so like I don't really need the PS4 for any really real reason, right? I'll even make a backup for all the save files if I need to, but so I feel less. So I understand Kelly, but I feel less of a need to do so with the PS4 than
I will have to figure out where I'm putting the PS5 because the thing is fucking huge.
huge,
Huge,
giant. It's fucking
Huge.
massive. Yeah.
I'm probably realistically just going to like try to slide my TV forward and then put the PlayStation 5 just like behind my TV on the top of my entertainment unit
Right.
because it won't fit. It won't fit in any of like the slots on the actual entertainment unit. Like there's nowhere that it will go. Otherwise, it's just gonna sit on the floor, which I do not like. I don't want it.
Could you take out one of the shelves on the left or the right and have it stand up?
I don't know if the side shelves come out, but if so, that might work.
Find a way. Just fucking
Yeah.
take a hammer to it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could theoretically. I'd have to move some stuff around. I have to put something. Honestly, there's a bunch of stuff on there that like we don't really use, so I could totally put it in storage or something. But I'll figure something out. It's not gonna be until at least Christmas if I'm lucky, and not until like the middle of 2021 at the outset.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Same.
um,
Same,
I got a
same.
ways to go before that's a concern. Basically, once God of War is officially coming out, then I'll have to get a PS5. But until then, I can wait.
True.
However, if no one's gonna interrupt me again, this gen is officially coming to a close.
Yeah, so I think I might be getting a PS5 pretty soon.
Okay,
Yeah,
how do I
Might-
mute Sean?
Easily kill me. Take me out.
Take me up. Oh God. Just.
Sean was
Um,
too powerful to hit your computer.
um. So last week we began a look back on the seventh or eighth or whatever generation it was. I don't remember the numbers. The PS4, Xbox One generation. We started in 2013, which had a bit of crossover with the generation before, and then we moved on through. We got to 2017, which we finished.
20 Serpentine.
We're using the Guardians article that
Yeah.
they just do one every year, where they like look back on their like top picks for the year.
Yeah.
So it's not a
Guardian.
complete list. It's not even our list.
Good.
It was just kind of a general look back on the decade, or
Not even a
decade,
good list.
close to a decade. But if anybody has any concerns or complaints about the particular games that either
Yeah.
are on the list, they speak up right now.
have something to say.
The old gentleman in the back, please step forward and tell us your complaints.
I'd like to complain about how there's no games from Arcane on the list.
That is true. It has been noted that the Guardian seems to not appreciate the titles Prey or Dishonored, no entries of which appeared on any of their lists.
Thing. Where's Kingdoms of Amalur?
Sir,
Why
This
ain't
is a
that on
Wendy's.
the list?
this is a Wendy's.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Oh my
Calm down.
god.
This is a Wendy's.
but yeah, so Dishonored 2 came out in 2017 and wasn't on the Guardians
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, one of the best games ever made. Yeah.
Dishonored 2 is fucking amazing. So
good.
we just want to clarify that the official position of Geek Garden is that Dishonored 2 is one of the best games of 2017.
Yes, thank you, Kelly. Thank you. Now tell them why. Anyway, we could talk about Arcane all day. I could talk about Arcane all day. Arcane's so good. Somebody, okay, really off topic, but like,
Yeah.
somebody
yeah.
was like, BioShock was like, oh, our next BioShock is gonna be in space, and someone was like, so Prey.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you mean Prey 2018? So I, for one, am excited for that.
And also Deathloop, which is Arcane's next game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So fucking stoked. I might just buy a
Deathloop.
PS5 for Deathloop.
One thing I will say about Arcane, because you can see it going through Dishonored and then through Prey and then the sequels and then into Deathloop that's coming out, is, video games are made up of a lot of different parts. And
Video games are made up. They're imagination.
they're fake.
They're fake.
They're not real. I don't know if you know this.
fake?
I don't know if you know this. Video games are not real.
Holy shit.
But also, so is everything. We made up
Oh shit.
everything.
Fuck,
Oh my
dude.
God.
Dude.
My meat brain works on less electricity than a light bulb. Oh
Tables aren't real. They don't exist in nature. We made up tables.
no. Everyone's fucking computer just falls. Oh shit, Kelly, you unlocked the pad and
You
everyone's
guys aren't
figured it
real.
out.
You guys are on my computer screen. You're not real. You're fake.
Yeah, I can't actually see you guys right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can't see you either.
Neither can I see myself.
Sean is a fake.
We
person.
just took a real turn. But anyway, my point is, there's a lot of different elements to video games. Something that I think is really cool is that you can just
Air.
tweak, you can just tweak
Earth.
a few aspects.
Fire.
I swear to God, Sean.
Water. These are the elements of video games.
You can just tweak a few aspects of video games, and they change a lot. And, like, the player experience changes a lot. A big example of that is obviously the shift from in like the Dark Souls games into Bloodborne, where they changed like a few parameters of combat, but like the button configuration is the same. The general sort of enemy layout and like trying to get you when they come around corners and like enemy
Exactly.
placement stuff very similar. But the
Harrying with a
player
gun.
experience very different.
Yeah.
Like the way that you interact with that game is very different. And Arcane, something that I think is really cool is, mechanically in a lot of ways, Prey is just kind of Dishonored in space. Deathloop looks to have a lot of like similar powers and similar gunplay and like similar abilities, but the framing devices of all of those games and a few core tweaks in very specific areas really change the player experience. And so I think it's cool that Arcane isn't like, oh, let's just like go back to the drawing board. They're like, oh, while we were working on this game, we had a cool thing of like, what if this worked this way? And it didn't fit in the game we were working on, but we're adding that and changing that and making this other game that is, you know, controller in hand, it's very similar, but the player is going to play a very different game because these things were changing. I just think that's really cool. But they like, explore with their mechanics and their settings and stuff. So I'm stoked about Deathloop as well.
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be fucking good.
Because you can watch it and you're like, oh yeah, that's like playing Dishonored. Like I've done that exact same thing in Dishonored.
They find a
but-
really cool gameplay formula and then just kind of work on that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they iterate on it.
Absolutely.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Prey is a little more RPG-y than I'd say Dishonored is. Dishonored focuses more on like the stealth action, but like it feels like the same game in a weird sense, despite having like different movement speeds, different like engagement, like ways of engagement. It's just, you can tell there's a little spice, a little
Everything
sprinkle.
nice.
These are the perfect ingredients that Arcane uses to make video games: sugar, spice, and a hidden chemical known as Chemical X. Anyway,
For all them Powerpuff fans out there.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
a little something for you. Mojo Jojo.
Jojo.
All right, so that's us making peace with Arcane and apologizing for not bringing them up originally. Again, I should
Yeah.
mention that, guys. If you remember a specific game that came out in a specific year, you're like, well, hang on, guys, this game, mention it. This is just like to jog our memories and remember like what those generations were like and what those games were like and what those years were like.
I don't know what year
Yeah.
it is, so
Dude,
it's
it's the longest year in human history.
I'm 15 and this 2009.
a long year.
The
We
long-
should
long-
we should actually
Was
play
weird.
The Longest Year. I think that would be a good game to play on Zoom or something.
I don't know
I have
what
no
that
idea.
is.
I don't know what it is either.
Brief overview of The Longest Year. Longest Year is a collaboration story game where we go through a deck of cards. Each card represents a week in the year, and depending on what card we get, a certain problem arises that we have to deal with as like a community. And then we begin the game by like drawing a map, deciding what resources we have and what resources are scarce, and they can be anything. So we can basically say, okay, like the resource we have are guns, and the resource that is scarce is water. And it's weird, and then we create a story as to why that's the problem.
Just drink bullets. I don't understand.
Problem
Drink
solved.
Drink bullet.
I don't see how that's a problem.
Drink your ammo, boys. Bottoms up.
Your mouth becomes a turret.
But yeah, you can make it like the resource we have are mechs, and the resource that is scarce is like cake. I don't know. Like,
Just
you can
eat the
fucking-
mechs. I don't understand these problems.
Cake is alive.
Sean, these problems suck. This game sounds awful.
The cake is.
I hate you.
All right, guys.
Anyways, what are we talking about today?
do you want to start? Do you want to start with 2018?
Yeah, sure. hit me with
2017.
that.
We
Hit
did
me with that.
2017? Is that true? Yeah.
We did
Yeah,
2017.
We did
Okay.
2017, dude.
2017.
But
I
it's
can
simple
double
year.
check that if you want, but I'm pretty sure we did 2017.
We did, yeah. Because I was like, where the fuck my Dishonored 2 at?
Where the fuck my Dishonored 2?
Like if you
Where'd the book?
like 2020 is the year we're in. 2018 is the year we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna
that one.
fucking rip Guardians video game brain off.
Yeah,
Did
rip
we
it
do-
off, dude.
Did we do 2017?
I don't
know,
think we
what's
did
in
because
2017?
you said there were 3 years left last time.
Did we talk about Uncharted: The Lost Legacy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait.
Pretty sure. Maybe.
Not Lost Legacy. We talked about Uncharted 4, and then you brought up Lost Legacy.
Oh, Oh. Oh. Yeah, because I don't think we talked about. I don't think we did, because I don't think we talked about the big one from 2017, in my opinion.
Then there you go.
The big.
Hey, hit me with that.
If we did do it, we can just skip through it really, really fast.
Is
yeah.
it Assassin's Creed Origins?
Hell no. Here, I'm gonna go through these super quick. So there's Uncharted Lost Legacy. Recently played it. It's good. Next Machina. Nobody played it. Let's move on. Night in the Woods. Nobody played it. Resident Evil 7. Biohazard brought Resident Evil back to life.
I would
Man.
like to play Resident Evil with
I like
somebody. I
playing
think that'd be a blast.
I think it
I'd like
looks
to play
terrifying.
Resident Evil 7.
Mr. X.
Next
Uga
game is
already called it what the big one was.
Persona 5.
Sean?
Any thoughts? Any feelings?
You're never gonna see it coming. Never see it coming.
I miss Smash. Okay.
Me too. Let's play online.
Okay. I don't have an adapter. It's gonna be bad.
I'll buy you one.
Please do. I have no money. The next one is Near Automata.
I was watching Alana Pierce just did like her like top 5 games from the last generation. She said Near Automata or Automata or whatever the hell you want to say it.
Nier
Automata.
Automata.
She said it was like her favorite story game.
Yeah,
Of
dude.
the last
People love the story
generation.
of this game.
And I was like, damn,
It's
okay,
nuts.
that was not what I was expecting from it at all. So
People
I'm
also
now
are
curious about it.
Hard for this game.
No, like, yeah, it's apparently crazy.
Very horny.
Apparently, well, also because of their outfits.
Well.
But apparently it's like one of those things where like you have to play through it multiple times and it starts like peeling back different layers of the narrative and different parts of the story and stuff.
Right.
But I actually played the demo before it came out and it's like really fun too. Like it's just a well-designed action game on top of apparently having an incredible story.
Sweet.
It's
Okay.
on my ever-expanding backlog of games that I have to play eventually.
Uga just wrote Near Automatopoeia.
Nier Automata. What Remains of Edith Finch?
No, yeah,
Good
we
play.
definitely talked about this here because I remember talking about how walking simulators are dead.
We also talked about The Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Just
Maybe
keep
I'm-
going. Just bang it out.
Anyway,
Bang it
Keep
out.
going. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Huh.
Very
We
good
didn't. We
game.
didn't. We didn't
Yes.
play about. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so Horizon Zero Dawn. Wow.
Wow.
Kelly, you've played it now?
Horizon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No.
played it ages
Yeah.
ago.
Okay, you did.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I played it before we all moved out, bruh.
Yeah, bruh.
Bruh.
Sam played it before we even moved out.
Yeah.
There was someone who hadn't played it
Yeah,
yet.
is playing it right now.
Wait.
I can't remember who it was.
Sam hasn't played it.
Anyways.
She's playing it right now.
Really?
I
Oh,
thought you never played it.
I thought you played it.
You played it.
I don't think so.
What am I thinking of?
Oh.
You're-
Anyways, fucking great game. I think there's a lot of the open world mechanics that I want them to kind of clear up on the second one. But
Yeah.
other than that, like, fucking interesting world, and the story took me for a ride.
Yeah, dude.
Very, very curious on the second one. Very curious on the second one.
Very excited. I think the world building's really fun. I think that it doesn't feel like and I love like, generic fantasy open world. That's like one of my favorite genres is generic fantasy. Absolutely, like generic high fantasy. So nothing against it,
helps.
but this definitely avoids feeling like you've seen it before,
Mhm.
the way they kind of try to blend like new primitive human cultures with like super advanced future technology
Mhm.
and like how that technology ends up feeding into the religion of the people that live there. I think is really fascinating. Aloy is just a great protagonist.
It was great. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're on podcast.
So I think that's really cool. And yeah, I definitely there's stuff in the open world that they did better than other games. But I definitely want to see them carry some stuff further. Like even simple stuff like, oh, you got to climb a tower, but the tower in this game is a giant like robotic dinosaur creature.
Like a branch. Yeah.
Like
A lot of fun.
so it just puts like that little spin on it. I like the way their health mechanic works where you collect the herbs, but they don't directly heal you. You like have a separate little like healing bar that you then like pull from to heal yourself on the fly.
Yeah.
All of the traps and the ways you can interact with enemies in unique ways, and they all have like specific tactics to take them down, just means that like moment to moment you're making fun decisions and having to remember all of your tools. which is always fun. It's not just like, oh, here's another thing, shoot it more so it dies.
For a player that usually avoids using the full asset of tools in games because I'm a lazy piece of shit and I just like to hit with my one fucking big sword, I liked that it forced me to like use like these electric traps for like these creatures because like they're weak to it, and like use these type of arrows and like blah blah. And it was a lot of fun. It was a blast.
Like it never stops being cool using like giant ropes to pull down a robotic dinosaur T-Rex and then running over to smash pieces off of it to expose its body so you can then shoot it when it gets back up. Like it's cool. I want to see what new creatures they make for the sequel. It was a great game.
Yeah.
Next one is one that I haven't played yet, but is on the list. Super Mario Odyssey.
Sean's the only one who's played this one, I think.
Really? I thought everybody played it.
No.
Very fun. Like, talk about like having fun for like, I don't know, 15, 20 hours. You just get to jump around. Feels good. Mario, I don't know, use a hat, jump on it, make a hat jump again. Like, to be fair, the advanced movement you can do in this game is insane. Like, it starts feeling like a little clunky, just like throwing the hat and then like running to it, jumping up, and then throwing the hat and jumping to it again so you can jump. But it does inevitably get really good to the point where you can just skip entire sections if you're good at this sort of like jumping mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Very fun to capture things like the thoughts, like the thought process of this game is really good for that. The amount of like little details you can like capture, it's just awesome. New Donk City is a masterclass of making like a concrete jungle like just fun to jump around in. Right? Like it is just never not fun to go back to New Donk City and just like jump on taxi cabs and like run around buildings and stuff.
Such a weird concept for Mario. I think it's hilarious.
It's New Donk City is also a masterclass in making you question the nature of Mario's existence and place in the universe and what humanity actually means.
Yep. Well,
yeah.
He's just like them. He is a human.
Nope.
He's a human just like they are.
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah.
He's some strange creature.
He's
He's not a
No,
human.
no, no.
an alien plumber.
Mario is a human.
Mario Jumpman Mario is confirmed not human.
Mario,
and Luigi Mario are the same.
Wait. You just said Mario Mario and then
Yeah,
Luigi Mario.
Yeah, that's their names.
No, but
Luigi
They're
has Mario's
stepbrothers.
first name as last name.
yeah, Luigi
No,
has
it's-
Mario's last name. Mario's first name is his last name.
No, it's Mario and Luigi Mario.
yeah,
They're
that's not.
they're
Yeah.
not related. They're like stepbrothers. Yeah.
I hate
Right.
this. I'm never playing this game ever. Let's move on.
And the number one, according to the Guardian, and also according to me, because it's the correct answer, video game of
Yes.
The
2018,
answer is wrong.
The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Destiny 2.
Destiny.
Can you imagine Legend of Zelda Destiny 2?
Dude, okay. My headphones are having a problem. Did one of my headphones just straight up die? Is it just dead now?
Oh no. Kelly can't hear us. Let's flame him.
I can hear you.
Flame
but
him
only
in the
this
chat.
one.
He can't hear us.
Son, I can
Wait,
hear
everybody
you.
speak on the right of the screen so we can't hear. They gotta go over there.
Wait, the right of the screen. Oh, this way.
But yeah, this is definitely busted. My headphones are definitely just.
Sweet.
I need a new headset.
Rad. Good thing we got all that Geek Garden funding.
That's
Right,
yeah, no,
chat?
my headset is my headset is dead. That's great. The fuck was it? Oh, okay.
What's
Sorry,
happening
something
at
just
your
fell
house?
over.
He's regained world hearing.
Something just fell over. It's really weird. But no, I hadn't. It had been a long time since I was playing a video game, and then I was like, oh, I should probably go to bed soon. It's probably getting pretty late, and I looked at my phone and realized it was 4 a.m. That hadn't
Yeah.
happened in a very long time before Breath of the Wild came out, and it happened
I
on
remember.
multiple occasions with Breath of the Wild.
I remember because we were all trying to play Breath of the Wild on the one console, and we were all like taking turns. And so, like, the moment Kelly wouldn't be home, I would be on Breath of the Wild, and the moment he would come home, I would get off
Yeah, because it was
console in his
mine.
game. Yeah, we know, we got that.
Yeah.
And it's just the way. I mean, so much has been said about it, but the way that it refused to just be like open world tropes and open world norms, and they were like, "This is how we want to do an open world, and it's gonna be great. And climb anything, go anywhere. There's no level gating. There's no like, oh, you can't fight this human enemy because his level's too high, so you have to fight these other human enemies." It's like, no, fuck that. Go
It
anywhere.
feels less like they went, hey, let's make the next Zelda game open world, more than they just went, hey, let's let the next Zelda player just go anywhere they want. Like it's like a different approach to it, right? Because I feel like most games just like, oh, we're gonna make it open world, so they have to fucking include all this fucking hot garbage. But with Zelda, it's just like, no, you can just go in any direction. It's still a Zelda game. It still has all the Zelda things in it, but you can just go in any direction.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I think it's really fun when you're early in the game and you just like stumble upon some big monster, and you're just like, oh, I gotta go. And
Dude.
like some boss monster music just starts playing in the middle of some random field, and then you just have to get out of there.
The first time you see a dragon, yeah,
Dragon?
fucking
Spoilers.
crazy.
Yeah,
Fucking
spoilers.
crazy.
I
That
haven't played
game,
the
dude,
game.
it's 3 years old. Whatever.
Spoilers.
We said
such
at the
a good
beginning of the
feeling.
last episode that spoilers are on the table. Probably
They're
should have said
on
that
the
in
Looking at my
this one,
table,
but here we
I
are.
But
see no
tables don't
spoilers.
spoilers.
Tables
Tables
don't
don't
exist.
exist.
Hey, my-
Don't exist.
My other earphone just started working again.
Oh shit! It's like when your ear pops and you're like,
Yeah, that was
"Oh, I
really
can hear
bizarre.
again."
And obviously we
Just
know
reset.
that the Breath of the Wild sequel is coming. Very excited.
Spoilers.
Sean, I swear to God. And I want to see more of, because I love Zelda and I love Breath of the Wild, and I want to see more of what they're doing with that formula and that design philosophy. Also, Age of Calamity is coming out soon, and I'm not going to get it right at launch, but that's cool.
Looks like a lot of fun. I actually do want to play it.
And I love the fact that it's like canon. So they're like, hey, this big battle that happened 100 years ago that we told you about, now you can play it. It's going to be really sad because all your characters are going to die and you're going to lose, but you can play it.
Like, you can play them.
It's the prequel trilogy, but for Legend
Don't
of
get
Zelda.
attached.
Exactly.
Everyone's
Okay.
gonna die.
Now we begin the video games of 2018.
20 Serpentine. Wait.
This is
That was
actually a longer
2017.
list. The one we just did was just 10. This one's 20. So
Oh,
if we haven't played it or we don't have big thoughts, I suggest we go kind of quick here.
Sean
Okay,
always
um,
has little thoughts.
What
I'm
what
ready.
what determines a big thought?
You'll know it when you feel it.
Wait,
Like
when
a
when
big
do I
like
get
thought,
big
like a
thing?
THOT.
Brandon, I hate you.
Okay, let's
I'm gonna go to your
what's
house.
next?
Get your entire room's.
I just noticed that like my camera is like slightly off center in the housing that it's like put into in my laptop. And that's
Oh, I
gonna
see what
bug
you
me
mean.
now.
It's not in the middle of the screen.
No, there's like a little hole in like at
Yeah,
the very
yeah.
middle top of my laptop where it's like cut into, and the actual center lens for the camera is just like slightly off center in that
Oh
hole.
no! Oh, that's worse.
That's awkward.
That's gonna bug me for a long
Just shake
time.
it. Just shake it.
Did it work? No,
I don't know. You tell me.
It didn't. All right. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Never
I wish it
played
was better.
Heard it's a bad game.
I wish it was better. I had a lot of fun. The fucking story is a fucking ride. It's a long fucking story. And it's a lot of fun. And I love art. Like, just like the fucking care to detail that game has is insane. Like, it's so close to being like a fucking piece of art. Like, it's just like, it's so good. But then I think we've all watched like a bunch of reviews on it. Like, I think specifically Nakey Jakey's is really good. Talking about how like the game is deceiving because it goes, hey, look at this crazy world where you can do a bunch of stuff, and then it gives you a mission and it like it punishes you for being creative, and you're like, well, what the fuck? Okay, wait, well, what do you want me to do? Right? They like took a cinematic linear approach to the story in a very crazy detailed open world game, and it was very weird. So I think that was its biggest downfall, and something that I hope that they would have fixed in hindsight or whatever. But I mean, if you want to play a cowboy game, this is the fucking best one. Go fucking be a cowboy, dude.
I mean, it's,
like, it's
kind
great.
of the only one.
It's fair, also fair, but it's
Which
yeah,
is-
fucking great.
Which I think in some ways for some people kind of worked against it. Like for me, I'm not super interested in having to open every drawer to like get cans of beans and stuff. Like I want like really fun like pistols at dawn mechanics and like rope and horses and stuff like that. And then you can do that stuff, but it like those mechanics didn't really evolve past Red Dead 1. And, like,
Yeah,
I loved Red Dead 1, but I was expecting like the shooting to feel tighter and the combat to feel cleaner and like stuff like that. And their dedication to making it kind of feel realistic made it feel like a bad game to play. Like I hate that every time I try to like go into a shop and I'm like running down the street, I always just like slam through the doors and burst into the place. Because there's like a fucking 5-second delay between when you stop sprinting and when the character's like momentum slows down enough.
Yeah.
And like it's supposed to feel real, but it's like if I'm sprinting, if I want to, I can stop. Like I'm capable of doing that as a person. And if I'm gonna
No.
open a door, I'm not gonna like barge into it like the fucking juggernaut.
I can't, when I start momentum, I can't stop momentum. I have this
Yeah,
problem.
that's because Sean, you don't know how to run.
Yeah, I can't stop unless I'm equated with an equal or greater force.
Yeah,
I
you
mean-
you can create that force in your legs against the ground and it'll stop yourself.
I wish I could, but I really just can't.
I physically can't do it.
Sean's
He doesn't have
physically-
vibranium in his knees. His legs will snap in half.
Dude, I don't.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't have the strength to stop myself. That's how strong I am. I'm so strong. I can't stop myself because I'm not strong enough.
No.
Of course.
I think Red Dead's also one of those games where they kind of suffered by putting in like enough or like a different post game content to the online that it really didn't really hold on to me and several other people that play. We have gone back and played it, but because it actually, to be honest, it kind of costs like a lot of time and money to even get into those things, which I found was really fucking weird. But that's just like what Rockstar has done for a while. They've done it in Grand Theft Auto as well. That it kind of sucked because like we were trying to do like all those like you can essentially take on like professions or jobs now in the online game, but unless you like saved up your gold from like getting a little bit from each mission or like you just straight up bought gold with money, you couldn't buy into the profession. Like it's weird. It sucked because it put a gate up where like Kelly, you couldn't get the same jobs we all had because you don't own the game or play it as much. And it sucked. It wasn't very fun. So, but every once in a while, I still get a craving where I'm like, man, I want to go be a fucking cowboy and do that. But yeah,
I'm a cowboy, baby. Riding my horse right here now.
Yeah, like I'm not knocking obviously the amount of effort and stuff that went into the stuff they did in that game. Just for me, I felt like the effort was put in the wrong places for the kind of game that I kind of wanted or hoped it would be, which is, you know, that's just my expectations and like what I want out of the game versus what it is, and that's fine.
Understandable. I personally actually really enjoyed Red Dead.
yeah.
I like the story. I thought the mechanics were mostly serviceable. Like hearing you say that better, you know, Guns at Dawn mechanics would have been great. It doesn't have the same sort of tension that you want out of that. Like it forces you to slow-mo aim and shoot when I think it should just be the sort of what a game that does it way better is Ghost of Tsushima's
I was just
standoff
thinking about the
mechanic.
standoff from Ghost. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
literally
I
just
was
thinking
thinking about that too.
It should just be that, right? Like your ability to move the stick in the slow motion and shoot, I don't think is really what the game actually wants out of you. The game wants you to like, because it's the story is, you know, that the theme is the fastest hand in the West, right? It's not just like simulated fastest hand in the West, but it would be really funny if you just had to like and you wait there for a second, and you kind of waited for them to twitch
Mm-hmm.
so that you could like quick draw.
Yeah.
And if you didn't quick draw fast enough, then that was kind of where the fail state came from, or you lost first shot and then you had to burn.
Yeah,
snake
or they
oil
could like
whatever.
they could like have some where you have to do that with like multiple opponents or something, and then there's like a thing where you have to like time it with like fanning the hammer or something. So you have to hit two buttons in like the right timing to get all the enemies or something, and if you don't, then like your gun jams or whatever, and like that's just for those moments. Like obviously that wouldn't be the gunplay for the whole thing,
Yeah.
but just some kind of stuff like that I think I would have really liked. Even the moments where you are shooting, it doesn't, there's still like a weird floatiness to it.
I get what you're saying, but I think I've just played more of Red Dead's, or not Red Dead, but Rockstar's games, so it didn't bug me because those mechanics feel familiar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the same as GTA, and this is the same as like Red Dead 1. So like playing it, I was like, this is the same. So like they didn't fix what isn't broken, but it isn't also great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another one of those things where like people are just familiar with Rockstar's games, and Rockstar has like a bit of a formula because like I'd argue Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto are essentially the same game. They're just different settings, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like this is just how they do it, and some people are a big fan, and some people are indifferent about it, and whatever.
Yeah, it's the same thing I think that Bethesda runs into with their sort of Skyrims, the Elder Scroll games, is because like there's the legacy players that if you change too much to like update the games, there's like something missing from that formula because the jankiness is almost familiar to the legacy players.
Mhm.
That like making it an in-depth combat system might turn them off because like they just want to hack and slash their way and not really give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They don't want to engage with the combat, really. They just kind of enjoy, shooting lightning and having an arrow, or right? The melee combat is not what they're there for, and then if it is, I don't know. Like the legacy players are fine with it, so it continues to just be the trend. I don't know. Maybe Elder Scrolls 6 will change, and maybe Red Dead 3 will change, and I hope that honestly probably should. Because it's like they're 10 years old now, these mechanics. Like, let's freshen
Move
them
on.
up.
Let's carry on. Let's go. Yeah, exactly.
It just
Yeah.
it feels like Rockstar doesn't acknowledge sort of advancements that have been made in the industry outside of themselves, right? Like
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about like the horse mechanics in Breath of the Wild and how good like your horse just kind of like does its own thing,
Mm-hmm.
which leaves you to be able to aim more easily and like aim around you and shoot bows at enemies and stuff. But you have to like be micromanaging the horse in Red Dead so much.
Well, yeah, like a horse will run into something, and it's like a horse is smart enough not to do that, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the advantage of having a horse.
And like the
is it
horses
has
in
a
Breath of
brain.
the Wild will like they avoid trees and they avoid obstacles. Like if you just
Yeah.
let them run, they will automatically dodge stuff because they're a living thing and they're a horse and they don't want to run into trees.
Yeah, they have
What?
self-perseverance,
It's like
preservation.
It's like they took the car mechanics of the GTA and they just put it into a horse.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a motorcycle that speeds up when
It's
you
a car
pass.
horse.
Just
Horse
a
car.
motorcycle with legs. I fucking hate that.
And then ironically, Breath of the Wild did add a motorcycle shaped like a horse.
They
Yes.
did. It's true.
They did.
Mhm.
Does the
But it's just like-
motorcycle
it's
avoid
just-
trees?
I don't think so.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
So
cool,
that just
cool.
proves that the Red Dead ones are just motorcycles with legs.
Yeah.
And it's just stuff like that where like I felt like I was fighting with the game more often than not. Like I didn't even get out of
Right.
like the prologue essentially because like I'm not enjoying this at all.
Interesting.
Video games are better than this now. Why is this one not better than this? I think was how I felt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Fair.
And that's again, lots of people liked Red Dead.
I
and
like
it
Red
did
Dead.
very well.
Yeah,
Like
so
you
did I.
guys liked Red Dead. And there's definitely stuff about Red Dead. Like when we were playing online, I had a really good time.
Some of the co-op missions are a blast. They're so much fun.
Yeah, but there's just stuff in like the sort of design that I'm not a big fan of. Plus, this is a good time to remember that this was the generation when lots of reports of studio abuse started coming out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We started to learn more about the horrible situations that developers deal with. Rockstar is very guilty of that, and I don't want to necessarily bring it up for every game because this video could just be us talking about that, and that should be talked about. But I also want to look
Yeah.
back on the games. But I just wanted to touch on that and,
Yep.
and mention that. Or
Very
go for it.
true.
That is true. True.
God of War.
Ah.
So good.
So good. God of War was a
So-
purchase I should not have made at the time because I couldn't afford it, but I kept seeing Sean having too much fun, and so I bought it.
Well, I kept because when I bought God of War, I took my PS4 and my TV downstairs, and I didn't let anybody see it, and I locked myself downstairs for like 4 hours to start the game, and I was like, honest to God, I was like, holy shit, this game is so good. Like the seamless. I think a few choices they made were just really good. For one, there's no cuts at all. Like the seamless transition from cutscene to gameplay to like over the shoulder, like you never leave Kratos's perspective, like all these things just really engaged me. This sort of first person narrative, almost first person in the narrative sense, not in like the gameplay sense, but
Yeah.
it was I don't know, it was just fantastic. Every beat of that game I felt like did a good job, and then I would just keep coming up being like, this game's so good, guys. Go buy it, go play it.
So many times.
Yeah.
Well, like Kelly and I came from playing the original ones, and Kelly, you ended up playing more of the original ones because I only played 1 or 2, and you played 3 as well.
Yeah, basically, I have this thing where I can't play numbered sequels unless I've played the other ones. And I missed God of War originally because I didn't have a PS3. I guess only 3 was on the PS3.
Yeah.
But regardless, I missed God of War. The premise didn't really interest me back when it first came out, but then it, obviously became the legendary franchise God of War. So when 4 was announced or when it was coming out or whatever, I went back and I got like a remastered collection and I played all 3 of them. So yeah, I haven't played like Ascension or any like the spin-off titles, but I played
Yeah. I
the
think I had
numbered ones, 1,
one
2,
of
3.
the PSP ones. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I played 1. I remember 1 the most. And I was just like curious. I was like, what the hell is Kratos doing like with Norse boys? What's happening? Like, what's going on? Like, I was so curious about what they were changing about the world, and like, why does he have a fucking kid? Like, what the fuck is happening? And I was so curious about like the story because they clearly were like adding more to it, and I was just so excited to play this fucking game, and it was great.
Well, I think it
Gameplay,
goes-
so much fun.
I think it goes to show like how powerful like a strong creative vision can be for a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cory Barlog had to like fight to get it greenlit essentially because he was changing so much about like a beloved franchise.
Yeah.
But he was just like so convinced that it was like the right move for the story and for moving gameplay forward and like what God of War needed, that he like kept fighting for it and then got it made, obviously. And I think that shows like it's like a big, AAA release. It's like a sequel. It's, got name recognition and all that, but there's so much heart behind that game.
Yeah.
Like there's so much passion in that game. You can feel it constantly.
Easily my most listened to soundtrack.
Yeah, because it's fucking
Yeah.
sick.
So good. Also, can we just talk about how when we were first introduced to the game, the fucking orchestra at E3? I totally forgot about that. Like,
Yeah, dude.
they just made a good impression right off the fucking bat. They're like, oh yeah, here's this whole fucking pit orchestra fucking playing the music of this damn
Oh, yeah.
game. This music's so good. What fucking game is this? Oh my fucking god, it's God of War. What the shit? Like, oh, amazing. Amazing.
And Sonny, you talk about him like going to Norse mythology, and like that was the best move they could have made because Kratos at this point has killed all of the Greek gods.
Yes.
Yep.
That pantheon is dead. He stabbed Zeus.
Yeah.
Everybody's dead.
He's from one shitty pantheon to the next shitty pantheon. It's like
Yeah.
everyone's like, ooh, all the Greek gods are shitty, and I'm like, yeah, they are. And then they're like, oh, let's go to the Norse mythology and do the same thing because all those gods are pretty much shitty.
Yeah.
And I'm just stoked because like we're gonna be going to Egypt next. We're gonna be going like let's just go kill all the
Let's kill
gods.
Ra.
That's
Ra?
the- That's the goal now. Ra
Step
and
off,
Osiris.
Ra.
And, yeah. Hoth.
Stab
Thoth.
Ra.
Thoth.
I
It's
think
Thoth.
like doing like some like Asian mythologies would be a lot of fun too. I
Yeah,
think that'd be really
absolutely.
fucking rad. I think
Dude,
I'd love to
stab
see
dragons.
that because I know
Kill-
fuck all about like Asian mythologies,
Buddha.
and so I'd love to like
I feel weird about
yeah,
that.
like
Yeah.
Indian mythologies,
Fist
Chinese
fight.
mythologies, like stop.
Fist.
So I'd love to be like because Greek and Norse mythology are things that I already know like a lot about and
Yeah.
hold near and dear to my heart. But
Decapitate Jesus.
Let's go.
oh my
Let's
god!
go.
But I'd be excited to explore mythologies that I don't know a lot about and use Kratos as this fucking murderous boy to explore
Yeah,
it.
because they're also all murderous.
And also, you know, that it brings up the potential concept of like passing the mantle over to Atreus.
Mm-hmm.
At
Atreus.
some point, like what they did at the end.
Boy.
We talked about this, but like Uncharted, you end up
Boy.
seeing Nate's daughter at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and like
Right.
so theoretically, if anybody wanted to go back and make more Uncharted games, they could do it like have like a 15-year time jump, and then you're playing as his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Atreus.
And I think they could do something like that with God of War. Also, just the way they managed to, like, the gameplay is totally different from the old God of Wars, but it still feels like God of War,
Yeah.
which is really
It's still
cool.
just as action packed, right? It's still
Yeah.
just as combat heavy, but now just not in that kind of like almost top down hack and slash style.
Yeah, it's definitely more methodical and more like
Yeah. Not great.
there's more like decisions you have to make with using your tools effectively and stuff. But it's still got like the God of War, like I'm tearing through these guys and I feel like a badass. And
Yeah. Oh.
and then
definitely.
about partway through the game, you get a new weapon that just makes it feel even more like
Oh, it's so good.
the original games, and the way they unveil those is so fucking sick.
so good. So
That's one of the
good.
things is it's like it's this reboot for the franchise, it's a new direction, but it doesn't like forget or dismiss what came before it.
Hmm.
Like it still has
No,
a
not
lot
at
of
all.
reverence for the original trilogy, which I think helps it feel good for new players and old players.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. But
Sean's
great.
smirking. I don't know what's going on there.
I'm reading chat. Okay,
Oh, gotcha.
so
Hmm.
Uga said, fucking Josh would not like Kratos to kill Buddha, and then Josh was like, it would be interesting, and then Uga's like, Kratos, I'll show you the path to enlightenment.
I'll show you the path to enlightenment, boy.
Yeah, so that's that. There's a game conspicuous by its absence on this list that I'm just going to talk about now because for me it's very sort of connected to my time playing God of War, and that's Spider-Man. Which we
Wait, it's
obviously
not
talked
on
about
that
a little bit.
list?
It's not on this list. Yeah. I know. I just scrolled through and I was like, "Excuse me, the fuck."
The fuck?
But the
Guardian,
reason,
what are you doing?
The only reason that I played, God of War so late, it was because it was coming out right around the time Spider-Man came out. I can't actually remember which one came out first. I think God of War
think-
did.
God of War,
God
I
of War
think.
did, yeah.
Yeah. But I just knew that like that was a game that I was gonna want to sink a bunch of time into, and I knew that Spider-Man was on the way, and I was like, I'm not even gonna get started. I'm just gonna wait.
I think
just gonna
Sean
wait.
and I both managed to beat it before Spider-Man came out, but I think you were hoping to like play like Sean's copy when he was done, kind of a thing, because like you didn't want to buy the game at the time.
Yeah,
so
that's...
yeah, which like makes sense. So by the time that
And-
happened, then it was like, oh, the Spider-Man's here.
And plus, like when God of War, when I finally got around to it, like I went into that game, like I killed all the Valkyries and like did all that stuff that's like optional that you don't have to do to beat it. So it was definitely like, and that was how I was intending to play that game. So it took me
Yeah.
longer. Obviously, I didn't want to rush through it to get ready for Spider-Man or anything like that.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man, oh boy, is very
Yeah.
good.
Is it? I don't know. I haven't played it. I
Yeah,
heard it was okay.
it's alright.
Spider-Man
Best
is
Spider-Man game ever made.
You think
For
so?
starters.
Only game I've ever platinumed.
Really?
Just because that's how much fun I had. Like literally, it was the only game where I was like, I want to keep swinging, so I'm just gonna go fucking do all the things, collect all the things, because I could do this forever,
Mm-hmm.
and I did. I'm still doing it
I
right now.
will
I'm still swinging.
say, it is like an easier platinum than a lot of other games. Like you don't have to necessarily
Yes.
like go out of your way to hunt down like weird esoteric challenges and like weird shit that you have to do.
Oh, God.
Um,
Assassin's Creed.
but yeah, exactly.
Collect
Um,
all 20,000 feathers,
Oh god, those feathers are annoying me so much.
and then
Fuck that
burn them all individually in this cutscene by pressing square for each
Yes.
feather.
over and over and over and over
Over.
again.
Press the square button 20,000
But even stuff like that,
times.
right? Like, you know, collecting stuff in an open world, that's something that you've kind of got to have in an open world. I think it's important to an open world because it's like a reason to just go out and experience the world and look
Yeah.
around. But they managed to take that and turn it into like a fun thing that had to do with like Spider-Man lore, like those backpacks.
Yeah.
As like a Spider-Man fan who's read a lot of comic books and stuff, I saw like a backpack webbed to a wall and I was like, oh my god, that's fucking sick, because that's like a classic, you know, Peter Parker move is he's got to go be Spider-Man, so he like bundles up all of his clothes into a ball and then like webs them to the wall to come back to grab them later. That's like a thing he's always doing in old comics.
Yeah.
And they turned that into a fun collectible, and then each one isn't just like, oh cool, you got another backpack. It then comes with like a little piece of memorabilia that tells you about the lore of this particular Spider-Man, and like it's like there's a lot of villains that you don't see in the game, but you know that he's fought because you collect some like artifact from their
Yeah.
fight in a backpack, and like it helps build up like his relationship with other characters. Like he has like a menu from his first date with MJ, and like an apartment
So
application that him and MJ signed out because they were going to be moving in together, but before they broke up.
Yeah.
And like just stuff like that, so it all feels really genuine and like there's a reason for it to be in the world.
Yeah.
And they did that with a lot of game design. Like even the towers, you know, they turn that into a mission where Yuri's like, hey, the police have like built these like crime scanners, but they've been shut down, and so you've got to go like figure that out. And like they think someone's tampering with them, and so there's like a narrative reason why you're doing like the open world kind of busy work. There's definitely stuff that I want to see improved. Like I don't think it's yet a perfect Spider-Man. Narratively, it's a perfect Spider-Man game.
Oh, so good.
It's the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh man, Spider-Man 3.
Mechanically, I hate you, Jack. I'm not gonna bore you guys with very specific details, but mechanically, there's some stuff that I want to see fixed and things that have been done better by other Spider-Man games. But as a whole, it's the best Spider-Man game ever made. And Miles Morales looks sick, and there's going to be a full-on sequel with Peter on PS5, and I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Spider-Man was just another one of those games that just like such a epic proportion of detail. Like the fact that like they recorded all of Peter's audio for when he's swinging or when he's standing still. Like that's so fucking crazy, and it will seamlessly cut between the two if you start swinging or stop swinging. Like
Yeah.
And it's something I didn't even notice until someone said something, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? Yeah, he's like out of breath when he does this, and then as soon as he stops, he's just like, oh, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
It's so cool.
It honestly is one of those things you wouldn't notice because it's done well.
Yeah.
And then when it's absent, you go, okay, well that makes sense. Right? Like they
like
could
your
have just
brain
made them
just naturally is like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Of course, he's like straining to talk because he's
That's how
swinging.
talking works.
But then you like step back and you're like, wait, they had to do that. What the fuck?
It's a lot of
and
editing.
it's like, and honestly his performance is good either way.
Yuri Lowenthal. I love him.
But like,
Yeah.
not just Yuri though, dude. Like everyone was a
everybody's
fucking
amazing.
banger in that game.
Everybody's
Every
amazing.
single fucking performer, just insane.
Banger.
Every voice work, every fucking mocap performance, like just nuts. Just
And I
fucking
really
crazy.
respect they they were like, this is a new universe. We're telling a specific story. Like it's a lot of it is stuff you've seen before, but it's like it's the best kind of adaptation where it's like mixed and done and everything in a new way where it all feels cohesive in and of itself. Right? It feels like you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense and that makes sense and I've seen that and that's cool. And then by the time you get to the end, you're like, wow, I've never seen that before. That was awesome.
It was so familiar, and then you're like, damn, but this was so unique on its own. Like, what the shit? Yeah.
So good. And
Yeah.
it really felt like I genuinely feel like Brian Intihar, the creative director, I think he has like a Bible at Insomniac that's like a timeline of like, this is when he got bit. This is when he did the wrestling thing. This is when he met this villain. And this is when this happened. And like, it feels like that world is so fully realized, especially with all those like little clues to other villains and stuff. It feels like they know what has happened to this
Yeah.
Peter, what he's done, his history, and obviously they've planned out stuff that hasn't happened yet because that's going to be in sequels. But it just feels very, very meticulously put together, and it feels like there's a lot of love behind it.
Just so many really fun small choices, like the fact that like, and again, spoilers, like the fact that like Harry's not around, and like
Oh, yeah.
What? Spoilers? What?
it doesn't mean anything the whole game. It doesn't mean anything. You're just like, oh, okay, cool. They just like didn't want to like have to deal with this like other character in their story. So like, yeah, he's on like a fucking trip, and like he was still there because you did like all those like fucking science buildings or whatever, and he was like had voiceover and stuff. And then the fucking very end, you're like, whoa, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Like so crazy, just insane. I couldn't believe it. I was blown away because that's
And
one
they're
of like that's one of the very unique things they did.
Yeah.
Like with I think all of us can assume some things about it because we know enough about Spider-Man lore, but like it's very unique, but like but it's from like it's weird, like it's like, okay, yeah, that's a cool idea, that fucking works. Yeah, it's man, so good.
Yeah, and it's like it's giving character development to multiple characters at once with this change of like you can see how certain things could spiral out of control in a very Spider-Man-esque way.
Well, it adds to Norman's character all of a sudden too. You're like, oh shit,
Oh,
like
exactly.
everything Norman's doing all of a sudden makes way more sense, and
And like what
oh.
Norman could end up doing in this world because of who Norman is.
Yeah.
And also like the decision to have Peter have such a close relationship with Doc Ock was so powerful. And also it's funny because it actually filled in, it lets you kind of imagine other things because of it. So for example, in the comics, because comics are weird, there's like a weird history of like Doc Ock having a romantic relationship with Aunt May.
Huh?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah,
Of
that's just a
course.
thing. It's in the comics. It's been around for a long time. But one thing that I thought was fun is like in this universe that could actually make some sense. And
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's him interning with him or if it's because he gave him the job or whatever. But when you look, you can like look at a photo in Doc Ock's lab, and it's like him and Peter on graduation day. And he says something about how like Doc Ock gave him an internship or a job or something just on Aunt May's recommendation. So like it kind of like as a fan who knows about the Aunt May Doc Ock thing, you can kind of imagine that Doc Ock was kind of like charmed by Aunt May and thought she was kind of cute, so he decided to give this kid a try.
Yeah, or they like dated at one point, or like, yeah. Wow, okay,
And I just
cool.
think that's fun, and it's like that little thing that's like, I can, because of how much detail is in that world already, I can totally believe that that was something that they thought about when they wrote that line. You know, somebody was like, oh, that's like a fun little nod to that weird little comic trivia thing. Let's put that in there. And they never, like, they don't draw attention to it. It's not like a collectible. It's not like some big thing, but just the fact that that's like in the minds of the people making it. And there's a lot of little stuff like that that I think is really
Yeah,
cool.
and it's also very obvious that like this like Doc Ock like is a recent thing. Like it's essentially happened in the time of the game. Like before that, there's like a history there with him as just being Dr. Octavius and just like being like a friend of Peter's and like a friend of Aunt May. And so it's just so cool to like, it's very believable, right? You're like, oh, okay, like there's some history here or whatever, because he hasn't always been, he wasn't always set up to be like a supervillain kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
I think it's fun. And also the fact that like they took that relationship that I think is more often with Dr. Connors. So like we understand this relationship that Peter has with like this like kind of mentor scientist, you know, this academic mentor, but now we've just switched it to Ock, and you're like, okay, cool, okay, this makes sense. All right, cool. But again, it's something that's unique to this game, and it's just
Yeah.
it's great. It's so
So that
good.
first moment when he gets the call from work, and he's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, Doc, I'll be there soon." I was just like, "Oh, cool, he's like working for Doc Connors in this universe or something." And then he shows up, and like they very clearly like highlight who it is because he's got like the cables that like make like the four appendages coming off his
Yeah.
back as he's testing it. Because it's not meant to be a surprise for the player that he becomes Doc Ock; it's a surprise for Peter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that moment when you immediately see it and you just know like, oh, this is not gonna end well.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, like the thing is, you don't know if they're slow burning you either, though. Like, because for the first half of the game, you're just not really dealing with Doc Ock. It's all in the background, kind of. It's like the B plot. So I'm
Mhm.
I'm thinking as I'm playing, I'm like, maybe they're setting it up for the next game, and they just want you to have a relationship with him now. And then like slowly it starts to like eke forward, and you're like, oh no, okay, this is becoming A plot, and the other thing I thought was B plot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Kelly, chat wants you to talk about Superior Spider-Man.
About
Yeah,
Superior Spider-Man?
apparently
Yeah.
they hint to Superior Spider-Man.
I think they do in the fact that he's talking like one of his big concerns is like his failing body,
Yeah.
and that was like the thing in the run up to Amazing Spider-Man number 700, which is where the switch happened, and then it went into Superior Spider-Man. Doc Ock's body was like failing him. He was like really decrepit and like he couldn't really move around much. It was like all his tentacles at that point. And he was like really emaciated and like dying essentially, and that's why his final play was to do the mind swap. Especially the fact that he like looks at the camera at the end after he's like locked up in his cell. He just like he has like a look at the camera. I think they're definitely setting up something, especially with how they're building up Miles. I think that there's definitely a potential of seeing a situation where we have to play as Miles and fight Peter because it's actually Doc Ock.
He's gonna zap
That's
him.
so fun.
I
That's so fun.
And like Miles,
Love Miles.
because one of the things that Peter or that Doc Ock does, right, is he starts being like a more lethal, aggressive Spider-Man, and that's one of the things that helps tip people off that it's not Peter anymore.
Right.
Um,
Right.
And so we have the situation where like Peter is teaching Miles how to be Spider-Man and how to be a hero and what that means. And so I think in the future we're going to see Peter start breaking those rules, and then Miles is going to figure out that it's not Peter anymore. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if that'll be like we're playing as him and we get like a game where we have like more aggressive takedowns and we're playing as like kind of a villain version of Spider-Man, or if he's going to be the antagonist in like another Miles game or what. But I think some version of Superior Spider-Man is at least likely in this universe.
Cool.
That's very cool. Very, very cool.
That's cool. I love the characterization of Miles
Mm-hmm.
in this game. I really do. I really enjoy it. I'm really happy that he's around.
Me too. It's funny. I feel like he's kind of shoehorned in because they want to get Miles in, and like it feels a little bit odd. Not super odd just because of how this Peter Parker is characterized, but it feels like a little bit odd that he's like, oh, this kid that I don't know, I'm just gonna go talk to him and get him this volunteer job at this place, and like
Yeah.
get him into the plot.
I mean, but you see that before when he tells that one person that you save in like one of the first missions
Gloria?
to like,
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
you tell her to go to the fucking Hope Center, I think it's called.
Feast.
Feast, right? So it's not out of the realm of possibility, I think, for
No, it's definitely
that
not.
to happen. Maybe it's convenient, sure.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah,
that's
it's definitely
plot
convenient, but it
101.
doesn't feel like so jarring that I'm like, well, that's dumb. I just remember thinking like, oh, that works out pretty well.
There are a lot of superhero plots that are convenient.
No, totally.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
mean,
it's
Peter
fun 'cause-
Parker in every universe gets bit by a spider.
Wow.
Ian?
Not every universe. In some
Pretty-
universes,
Pretty convenient.
in some universes, it's Bruce Banner or Gwen Stacy.
True.
Kelly, get out.
Ha. But yeah, I think it's fun because Miles is also like, he's a newer character, so he has less kind of like critical stories that have defined his legacy,
Yeah.
right? So you have stuff like Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man PS4 that are really in real time shaping how the world is going to view Miles Morales for a long time to come. Like these are things like the 90s Spider-Man animated series, but for Miles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're going to like be like part of his mythos forever. And it's really cool. It's funny. One of the complaints about Peter Parker or about Miles Morales, basically up until Into the Spider-Verse, was that he was just kind of like a black Peter Parker. Like, oh, he's also into science and he's also really smart and like all this stuff.
Mhm.
And then Into the Spider-Verse kind of within their story pulled away from that. We're like, sure, he's a bright kid, but that's not what he wants to do. He actively wants to like, focus on music and art and like more creative endeavors. And so in Spider-Man PS4, Miles is kind of, he's a bit of that Peter 2.0. He talks a lot about science stuff, and him and Ganke are working on this app, and like he's very like clever, and like Jefferson makes that comment about like, oh yeah, my kid's super smart at like 3 years old, he was taking apart the TV remote. Now he's like unlocking his kids' phones and like all this stuff. And then Into the Spider-Verse came out and really shifted Miles. And even in the comics, he started to get more of his own identity after Into the Spider-Verse. Like he really, I think it was Into the Spider-Verse that really made Miles Morales Miles Morales. Before that, he was kind of like an idea, but now he's a character. And then you see what they're doing with the Miles Morales game, and the inspiration from Into the Spider-Verse is very clear.
Oh, obvious, super obvious.
With like that
Very
sort of
clear.
neon punk aesthetic.
Yeah, and even like they've been doing these like articles that are like Daily Bugle articles essentially that like talk about like, oh yeah, the youth in Harlem and the stuff they're working on, and like they're focusing on Genki as like the smart guy, but Miles is more talking about like how he's like sampling music and like making beats, and like he talks about that in the trailer. He's like, oh yeah, I've been working on this beat for a while and like stuff like that. And there was a really cool TV spot for Miles actually, where he gets knocked down or something, and he pulls his mask up and like looks at his reflection. And he's kind of like, it's that moment where he's like, okay, I got to do this. Like I got to go be Spider-Man. And he's got like earbuds in, and he clicks the button and it starts playing music, and then he pulls the mask down and goes and fights crime.
I love that. I love that so much.
And it's like that stuff that they're now bringing into the Miles game that I think is really, really cool. And it's really like Miles isn't just Peter anymore. Miles is Miles. He's his own character. He's going to be Spider-Man in his own way, and he's not going to do it like Peter did it.
Yeah, and this sounds really old man of me, but I think one of Miles's biggest thing is that he reflects current culture way more than Spider-Man does, as far as just like what people are into, what people like to do, and what people look for, and he's a zoomer, and what people look for in people they look up to, and all that kind of stuff, right? And the culture that he's into, and I just think I love it. I think it's so refreshing. Like Miles Morales is one of my favorite superheroes now. Like he's just so cool.
Yeah.
Almost just because of because of just Into the Spider-Verse, he is like one of my favorites, and I'm so excited to see more. And then on top of that, they're like, oh yeah, also he can fucking turn invisible and has like electric punches.
Yes.
By the way, he's just like a different Spider-Man. Yeah, and I just think it's great.
Well,
Very
dude, I was thinking about this the other day. The fact that like the general public is more hyped for a Miles Morales game than an Avengers game right now just like blows my mind. And the fact that Gotham Knights, because I had this idea, I don't know if I ever told you about it, Brendan, but years ago when we were in like the height of our like loving the Arkham games.
Oh, we talked about it.
I had this crazy idea. I was like, you know, what'd be really cool. I think I called it like Under the Wing or something like that. Anyway, I had this idea of like, what if there was a video game that was like a 4-player co-op game, and you played as like Nightwing, Robin, Red Hood, and Robin. And like Batman dies or Batman gets captured, and so the actual game is you playing as all of his like sidekicks, and you don't play as Batman. And I was like, yeah, but they'd never fucking do that, because like Batman's the popular character. Like they're gonna make a game where you play as Batman, obviously. And now we're getting a game where you play as the sidekicks. It's Batgirl instead of Damian, but still, you play as the sidekicks, and Batman is dead. And then we're getting a whole game where you play as like the second Spider-Man. Like Peter's still around, but you're getting a game where you get to play as Miles. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
Well, I think it's because these characters became so popular in pop culture, but like they're always like, I think the kids and the youth like were more connected with the sidekick character, and so now we've grown up a little bit more, and now we're like, I want to play as the fucking sidekick character. He's the cool one now. Like Batman is the shit my dad's into. Like fuck that. Like I don't want that. Right? Like I want to play as Nightwing or Robin.
I mean, I've always preferred Nightwing, obviously.
True.
So.
But I think that's kind of what's happening, right? Like again, it's and I think it's happening quicker with Miles because of what I was saying, how like it feels more appropriate to what people are actually into. Like he represents what the current culture is. So I think it's happening at a much faster rate with Miles. They're like, oh yo, he's into fucking like hip hop and like art and shit. Like what the fuck? Like hell yes, let's fucking play as him.
I heard a rumor. I don't think it's confirmed. I'm pretty sure it isn't now because like the game's out, like reviewers have played it, and I haven't heard this since, but I've also been like screening myself for social media. But before it came out, I heard like a rumor that you were going to be like collecting shoes.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know anything about that. Yeah, that's cool.
Because that's just like a big thing in like youth culture, is like collecting different, like collecting your kicks, man.
Yeah.
And so that
I
was
think it's a big thing in black culture, right? Like it's just like it's like
and then
Nikes
people
and
thought,
and...
especially because like him having his, I think they were Jordans in Into the Spider-Verse, and then they like made shoes that were that exact shoe,
So cool.
And so it was like a whole thing.
thing.
So like
That's pretty
people
dope.
thought that was gonna be like a collectible, and I don't know if it is, but the fact that people even thought that that could be a thing like speaks to like Miles's place in pop culture now. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense for him to be picking up backpacks.
No, he hasn't been
right?
Spider-Man long enough.
But he's got to pick up something.
Gotta pick up something.
Gotta pick up something.
But yeah, I'm gonna be playing that tomorrow night. I'm very excited. Oh my god, I'm very excited. Plus, I have always preferred Peter being allowed to just like grow the fuck up and like have a life beyond being a high
Mhm.
schooler. And now that Miles Morales is like so cemented in pop culture, teenage Spider-Man stories are gonna be Miles Morales stories, and then you can have like adult Spider-Man stories that are about Peter Parker, which I've always really enjoyed anyway.
Yeah.
About him dealing with, I don't know, trying to be Spider-Man and having like a career and a
Yeah.
family.
Being like
Exactly.
in his 30s.
The thing is, he can still have challenges and problems. They're just not like, oh, how do I make it to the prom? You know, like they can the challenges can grow with Peter, and I just think that writers are so reluctant to do that. But now that they have Miles as the young, especially like you said, Brandon, like he's way more relevant to like modern youth culture than Peter Parker
Yeah.
ever could be.
Yeah.
Because even when he was made, the whole point of Peter Parker was he was kind of more grown up than his contemporaries because he was like the scientist and he like, you know, he wanted to have like the,
Yeah,
the
he's,
family
he's,
or like
he's a
grow
bit of
up
a
and-
geek, right? It was kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, he's kind of past
His whole
you know,
story is
the-
about responsibility,
yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like,
Whereas Miles's whole thing is about like finding personal identity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
yeah,
and,
like
like-
sure, as a hero, Peter is great, but in terms of like being the beacon of like youth relatability, Miles hasn't beat hands down.
Yeah, like you can rewrite Peter Parker as much as you want, but like, why not just use if Miles Morales is there? Why not use him, especially since he's like a black superhero, which I think is a big part of it too. Like, why not fucking use him? Like, it's there.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, it's just fucking great. It's good, good shit.
Fucking sick.
I have about 15 minutes, by the way.
Okay, we're gonna fire through these ones, boys. We got Into the Breach. Nobody played it. Forza Horizon. Brandon, you talk about
Cars.
driving game.
I
There's
did
more
try
of
to
'em.
play it.
Cars.
move.
Tetris Effect. It's like Tetris, but it's psychedelic and weird.
Holy shit, I love psychedelics. Let's continue.
Monster Hunter World. Wanted to play it, did not play it.
A game that I actually still want to check out because it's been on
Yeah.
crazy sale, like a lot.
And it's
so
still popular.
yeah, and so when it's like I don't know, when it drops like 15 or 10 bucks for the base game, I'll probably pick it up and try it again.
And we've all got to get in it together because you got to go on like team hunts and stuff. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What?
Good co-op game. I'm down.
Monster Hunter?
The next game, Sean, we have to keep this brief. The next one is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
It's great. It's got every fucking character. It's awesome.
Let's
It's
move
just-
on.
Steve
It's
is the
just-
best
All
character.
I
ever.
will say is that Smash Brothers has grown beyond Smash Brothers, and it is like a gaming touchstone in and of itself.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
a video game character being added to Smash is like a statement on. It's like being parodied by Weird Al in the '90s.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
like
yeah,
Master
It's
totally.
Chief
like a
for Smash.
statement on your status in the video game world.
Mhm.
Number 8
Kratos
is
for
Celeste.
Smash.
Number 8 is sorry, what?
Number 8 is Celeste.
Amazing.
I didn't play it. yeah.
Perfect game. 10 out of 10. If you haven't played Celeste, I don't know
do
why.
I
wanna
do
check it
want to
out.
play Celeste.
I don't.
Why are you guys sleeping on one of the best platformers ever made? I don't know. It's beyond me, but let's continue.
Sean, I have some
I'm
games to play.
tired. I'm
That's-
sleepy.
That's great. Play this one.
The next one is Return of the Obra Dinn, which I haven't played, but I would like to. It looks cool.
I would also like to. It's on my wish list.
Ni no Kuni 2.
I played the first
play it.
game, so let's continue.
Shadow of the Colossus remake.
Played a little bit.
Very good
Still haven't
video
played it.
game.
The
You
first
can't-
one is incredible. So I just assume this is also incredible. It's being made by
I'm-
the people who are working on Demon Souls. They're really fucking good at what they do.
Heard it's just the same. Like it's just pretty much the same.
Yep, that's
So,
fine. The first
just
one's fucking
looks-
great.
just
I just
looks
want it to look
nicer,
better,
They didn't
Nice.
change anything besides making it look pretty.
which is all it needs, because otherwise it's flawless. Astrobot Rescue Mission. It's a little PSVR game.
Nope.
Cool. Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Haven't played it. I think you
Like
and
any of those
Sam are the
episodes?
people who played it.
Let's
Oh, and
continue.
Jack and Jack.
I will just say it's very overrated. The fact that it was even in the Game of the Year discussion is offensive to me.
Yeah.
It's a bad game.
I think it's
Hey.
a bad, poorly designed video game.
Oh my god, like Assassin's Creed Origins and like this one and like probably
All
Valhalla.
the other ones you can't remember the names of because there's too many of them.
I think Origins was jankier, but I genuinely think Origins was a better designed game in terms of like the behind the scenes design.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, I honestly feel like people are gonna be like, holy shit, Valhalla is so much better. Look at all these things that they made better from Odyssey, and I'm gonna be like, it's you took a piece of crap, and then you polished it a little bit. And now people are like, whoa,
You
it's
put
so
some gold
shiny
flakes on it.
now. It's like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed is in this weird place where it's just like it's kind of too big to fail,
And also,
and like nobody really loves Assassin's Creed, but people can't let it go.
Also,
Like
they're
I'll
going
play
with weird-
Valhalla once it's like $15. I will.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're like
I won't.
going in a weird direction because like it's not Assassin's Creed anymore. It's like,
It's just generic open world.
I kind of want this is what I'm gonna say. I kind of want Assassin's Creed to die so then they can bring it back later better. I want it to
Yeah.
die. I want it to suffer and just get buried, and then in like 5-6 years they bring it back with a
They
better
rely
fucking
on
great
the
title.
Assassin's Creed money.
They need
Because
Well,
if Ubisoft,
sorry, Ubisoft.
gave up, if Ubisoft gave up on Assassin's Creed, what do they have left? They have nothing.
I
Get a
cared
Far
more
Cry
about
and
Rainbow Six
R6.
Siege than I have
Okay,
in the last Assassin's
they?
Creed games.
Do they have those games though?
They do.
They do.
Do
They have For Honor, which is still kicking, baby.
Is it?
Is it kicking?
It
Is
is.
it-
The next one is Florence,
Is it?
which I haven't even heard of. So we're
I have
moving
no
on.
idea what that is.
Neither do I.
Dark Souls Remastered. Want to play it? Haven't played it.
I forgot it got remastered. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Apparently, it wasn't great. Like especially the PC port. People were like, "Eh." It
The
wasn't
net
like
code was really, really bad.
yeah, and it wasn't as much of like an upres as people kind of thought it should have been.
It's no Demon Souls fucking
Yeah, baby.
I played
Remaster.
Demon Souls. I'm no
next-
casual.
Next is Iconoclasts.
I don't
That
know
exists. Moss, which is another VR game where you're like talking to a little mouse. Looks cute.
You're a little
yeah.
mouse boy.
Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. I think we talked about Pillars of Eternity and stuff the other day. 'Cause
We
were
should
talking
play
about-
it. I should play it. I started
RPGs.
it and I got probably about 7 hours in, and then I stopped. I liked it.
Yoku's Island Express. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's
What
a
that
game. And Yakuza 6. I haven't gotten into the Yakuza
Like-
franchise.
neither by.
Woo! We're done.
Yeah, we made it through. We made it through 2018.
is.
I gotta pee if we're gonna continue.
Well,
As
I
he
don't
just
think we.
goes.
Brandon's got to go. So
Okay, bye, Sean.
We have to pee if we're gonna continue.
Just
We're
take-
not. No, I have to
That's
go. We're not going to continue, Sean.
Just go in
Okay.
the tub. Okay. you just go.
I'm going to end
Yeah.
it without him.
yeah, we're gonna do it. Fuck it.
I have to pee. Hurry.
Or we're just ending the podcast at this point.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, hurry up. Kelly, I already drank this much water.
No, now I'm going to take my fucking time just to fucking punish
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
So we want to thank everyone. Brandon, I am sorry we didn't get through our list, but that just gives us more content for next week, baby.
yeah, we can do like a double hitter next week. We'll like open up with 2019 and then we'll go on to something else.
Yeah. Double
You
heads.
think we're not gonna manage to fill up an entire podcast talking about just 1 year?
Underestimated Kelly.
Oh, wait. What year did For Honor come out?
That was 2017.
And that didn't come up.
Yeah.
Sad face. I'd like to talk about For Honor next podcast.
Yeah, but again, the point of this is to use this as
Yeah.
a platform to just talk about the generation, so we can totally talk about For Honor next
I
week.
like to talk about
Yeah.
For Honor.
Super dope.
But man, all this is doing is making the list. I forgot to bring up my fucking list. I should have had it. It's just creating that list again of like, oh yeah, I wanted to play that game. Shit.
Right.
Celeste.
Wait,
Shells
okay.
Colossus. It's game after game after game after game.
So many.
All
years
right. Well, that's us. This is good. We're gonna try and play Ghost later, maybe.
I hope so,
Yeah.
Because
I don't know.
by tomorrow, probably not gonna have time.
If
doing
you
Kelly.
guys are like, hey, we've got the group ready and we're ready to go do Ghost, I will jump over, but I'm definitely be mostly focusing on Miles. But I do
That
want to get
is
the last
fair.
raid, so I'm not like
Yeah. Like it's
I'm not done.
been a week. I want to finish it.
I'm not done. I'm not going to abandon it without the last raid being done. If people are ready for the last raid, I'll do it.
That's
But
fair.
I will be focusing most of my attention on Miles.
I get ready for work, but if someone wants to shoot John a message and see if he's around tonight. and
Yeah,
then-
heck, Jack and I might LFG with a random and try to finish the third one and then
There you go.
get back
There
to
you
you or
go.
something.
Cool.
Because I will definitely run it multiple times as well. Just to be
That is
clear.
fair. That is
Yeah.
fair.
Also,
All right, I
didn't
think that's What's that?
But apparently, if you run through the raid and then before you go through the gate at the end, you could switch to a character and then come back if you don't want to run that character on that chapter.
Oh, just to like get the
Yeah,
unlock
the
thing.
cosmetics. Yeah.
Whatever. I want to run it as everybody. So
Fair.
Yeah, we're getting out of here. Thanks, chat. Thanks for hanging out. Follow us, our socials, all that. You guys know what to do.
hit the if you're watching it on YouTube, hit the like button and the subscribe button. And
Hit that little bell. You
just
got a
all
little
the
bell.
buttons. You know how YouTube works.
YouTube things.
We'll be back here next week doing it live.
We should seriously, we should have a meeting maybe this weekend or something to talk about our next like big like our Christmas stuff probably, because
Word.
it's already in the middle of November. What is time?
Wait,
Time
it's
is
Time
no-
doesn't
nothing.
matter because there's a plague and we can't go to anything.
Also, it's getting really sunny outside all of a sudden.
Yeah. Also, I apologize. I'm like super washed out because I didn't close the blinds because it was like
Oh,
a
really?
nice lighting level, and now it's just.
overcast. That's it.
I can see if I look straight, it's nothing but dark cloud, but the sun is fucking shining like shit over here
Yeah, dude.
because shit shines.
Kinda nuts.
All right. Thanks again,
Anyways, I'm
everybody.
out. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody. Love you
Bye.
guys. Love you. Good chat. Bye, 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 bye. Bye.